A record number of children are living in temporary accommodation in Scotland. Charities say in many circumstances the accommodation provided is unsuitable and substandard, fuelled by a shortage of affordable properties, rising mortgage rates and a shrinking rental market. 12 of Scotland's 32 local authorities have now declared a housing crisis. And back in May, the Scottish Government declared its own housing emergency. After becoming homeless as a result of a fire, Katie, whose identity we are protecting, was placed in a flat with her young daughter while they waited for their own home to be repaired.
Within a few days, we had noticed that the house was infested with fruit flies. There was an infestation in the drains. So that had obviously started coming into the property. My wee girl, she couldn't get out in the back door to play because once we had actually moved in and went outside, we had noticed that there was a beware of the rats sign and rat traps all around the back door. So obviously due to that reason, I didn't want my wee girl going out there.
Those that aren't placed in properties straight away often find themselves living out of bags in hotels and hostels, families often cramped into one single room.
What was it like staying in a hotel for so long?
I felt like I couldn't process a lot of what was happening because my daughter was always there, and being moved out of the area that we lived on, it was very difficult to get her to school. She didn't have any school clothes because obviously we lost them. The school actually had to provide my daughter a uniform from the lost and found.
But worse than their living situation and the state of the accommodation they are provided with is the mental toll this period of uncertainty can place on families.
I stopped sleeping. I had to be signed off work. I had to get anxiety medication and everything from my doctor. And again, because I had no one to talk to, I felt like that was just putting a bandage on a bullet wound. It wasn't helping at all. It was just numbing everything that I was feeling for a few hours. My emotions are still away up here. Anytime anything happens or I feel like I'm kind of backed into a corner, even at work, if I'm not sure what to do, I just feel like I want to crumble constantly, and I feel like that's because I've still got so much unresolved stuff that's just sitting here.
What more do you think the council could have done to help your situation?
I feel like I'm just pushing everyone away because in my mind, it's been months now, I should be over this, but I feel like I've not even started to get through it because there's been nobody to talk to about it. Yeah, the house is done, we've got some possessions now, I've got somewhere to live, but for everything that you're feeling and everything that you're going through and everything that you went through, I've not had one person point me to oh, we've got a wee team there or this, and I just really think that would have been helpful. Even if it wasn't a mental health team, just somebody to sit there with you all the way through and be yeah, this is what we're going to do next, that's what we're going to do next. That would have been really helpful. I feel like we were just packed into a hotel and left in the dark.
So how did it make your daughter feel being in temporary accommodation?
It's totally changed her personality. She's more worried now. She doesn't sleep as often. She gets up a lot earlier. She stays up a lot. You can see the cogs turning. And I think because she's seen the pressure that I'm under, she doesn't want to ask a lot, which also makes me feel really bad, because if I had been getting more support, she wouldn't have saw the pressure that I was under as much, and she would be able to kind of convey her own worries. And sometimes I'll ask her, and how are you feeling? And she'll be oh, I'm fine, and I can see that she's not.
But Katie's situation isn't unique. Another mum, Laura, told us the accommodation she was placed in after fleeing a violent relationship with her 4 children was so horrific, she considered going back.
Very grim. It was not nice at all. And at that point, I really was reconsidering what I'd done. And I had to phone and say, if I can't go in a refuge for support, I'm going back. So thankfully I got a space in a refuge, and that has really helped me. But there's so many factors that I'm now at a point where, again, thinking of my kids as well, that have I made the right choice? Even though I know I have, but with no end in sight to us getting our fresh start, it's really difficult.
And as this year's housing statistics are published, the conversation turns to what more can be done to really help people trapped in a cycle of homelessness, or those like Katie and Laura who find themselves in temporary accommodation, feeling unable to escape.
I feel like in a way I'm being penalised for my decision that you're told that you should be doing for yourself and your children. It's everywhere. But then when you do it, you're trapped still. You feel, I mean, like we are happier leaving, but we can't keep living like this. And I feel like the councils need to start looking at these circumstances and people, like we're people, and children. They need a normal life, and we're nowhere near getting there, and it's hard.